call the meeting to order. All rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public comment? Are you here for?
I'm here for the bids later on
Okay.
early, so.
All right, I wanted to double check. Did you have a chance to read the minutes for?
The only thing that was a little bit confusing about what Jacqueline added, you think that's spelled out for most people to understand about these are the official minutes, but if they want to hear the full conversation, they can go online. And I guess he was talking about the conference call we had in the public area.
I think so. I think that's the way I interpreted it. I didn't see any problem with the way it was written, but
So it's just last paragraph under the bullet point note. You think it's okay?
Yeah, that's Michelle and I worked on it,
Oh, okay.
and it could be improved for sure, but that's what we came up with as the kind of to go on the template.
Okay, other than that, I didn't see anything. You see anything? I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as presented.
okay.
Somebody's phone's ringing. Yours?
Hmm?
No, you're fine.
And I'll second that. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Pass 2-0. 1.
Commissioner Noel, Chairman Noel, Jack Bauer is not here today, and he sent me a text, and I told him that I would relay the information. He's absent today. He is consulting with a New York glove company for a large retailer that is planning expansion of stores in northern states. Jack has been a glove buyer and merchandiser for gloves in the north. Jack can speak about distribution, timing, utility, and styles regarding gloves. And that will make a difference on the canvas, because the Board of County Commissioners generally serves as the canvas for the election. But in the absence of one commissioner by statute, the two of you other commissioners will need to select a third person to be on the board.
Mr. Chairman, I so move that we select Shelley Campbell to be our third member on council.
Is this the appropriate time to make that motion, or do we wait until the canvas?
Yeah, you could probably wait till the canvas, but you'll need to do that when we start the canvas.
Okay, I won't second, then it'll just stall for lack of second. Any comments or committee reports?
I have none, but I think I would like to come to that sales tax meeting tonight. So if I just announce that I'm here to listen and I'm not going to answer any questions, make any comments, so I'm not in violation of the open meeting act.
Right.
Okay.
Right, that's fine.
Okay. That was going to be my announcement, was for sales tax committee, which is at 7 p.m. here in the commission room. That's the only thing I have. New business before the board. We have an appointment to make for the community corrections. And the term is for Julia Clem for a 2-year term. It had actually expired July 1st, 2018. So do I hear a motion to reapprove Julia Clem for the County Community Corrections Board?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Pass 2-0. Kim, you want to just come right on up? Thank you.
PO for our recording system, voice products.
This is just a yearly expense, correct?
Yep, maintenance contract.
Has this been looked at by the Joint Communications Board, or is that something that's
Yeah,
just
it was approved.
approved?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve an amount of $9,498 for joint communication. What do you call it? Maintenance or?
Yeah, the voice products, the recorder maintenance, yearly maintenance.
Okay, you got that down on there?
And I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass 2-0.
Just one copy.
Double check.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a great day.
You haven't heard nothing, Kim, city okayed the budget yet or not, or?
Not a word. Theirs isn't.
They have to do it? I thought they had to do it by last night.
Oh, did they?
I was thinking they did.
Well, they have to, it's tomorrow night, it's the 15th, they're doing their city budget tomorrow night.
I see. That has to be approved by them for them to order to approve it.
Yeah.
So the last thing that Becky told me was that they would present all the information at the board, or not the board, the commission on the 20th, their next meeting. That was the last I heard from Becky. Was that once she got all the information, since they didn't approve it, then they would take it to the next one on the 20th.
I believe they gotta have it submitted by the 15th to get it 10 days published by the 25th. Because I think they're just like we are under the same.
I thought that there was, I wrote it down somewhere, if I can find it. I don't have it here. No, that's old. That's old. It's not in there. So, but I'm sure that that's the 15th that they've got to, and it's tomorrow night.
Okay, I'll double check. I'll see what I can find out.
Okay.
If I find something out, I'll come back down and let you guys know.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got Seth don't come in till the time. 1:30. We got her all the time now. On this Capital One on that, or where are we at on that? What are we waiting on?
That's the offer sheet, I think, is to be signed today. We have a resolution for you to adopt today.
Oh, okay.
And then closing will be on the 30th. It was originally scheduled for the 28th, but it's been moved to the 30th.
Okay, I didn't see that on the back side. Okay. Can we go ahead and do that at this time, or does that have to be at a specific time?
No, it's not at a specific time.
I think this guy.
Don't know if Michelle printed turning it out.
This here, is this what you mean?
That's the
That's just the,
that's the
offer.
offer sheet from Capital One. But the resolution, I can print it.
I don't think we got any of those. You may have remembered.
yeah, I haven't seen that, so probably be a good thing to go ahead and at least get that coming our way.
Do you have any equipment that could drive bridge piling?
So just found him with an excavator. Then they used plate compactor. I thought the map is here.
They
Excavator.
used what?
You guys have a plate compactor for your excavator? And they just used it and pushed it right in, I thought.
That'd be before, for me, I didn't think an excavator would get up high enough to do that.
Reach up through. Depends on how high, what your elevation difference is. You're sitting up on the road like driving around the bridge. I'm pretty sure that's what they use it for. They pushed it right there. I think they might have had a deal hooked onto it, so it just vibrates, pushed it right in.
You wouldn't think of anything that would just vibrate wouldn't push that piling in. It just don't look like
Well,
it would
you
be.
put a lot of pressure on it. It just kind of help it.
Okay, well, Seth's not going to be here till 1:35, so do we have anything else that we can work on or skip over to? You say we can approve that Capital One?
Yes.
Okay. Accessory. Just come on up. No, we can't do the bid opening yet, but we can get a PO, I believe.
Yeah.
I just asked Mr. Martin about if he had any equipment to drive piling, and he thought that Matt used to drive it with the thing and had some kind of vibrating thing to help.
That's what, yeah. They put it in with the bucket and then they took the Vibratamp.
But you said
Going on
it's
top.
too dangerous, or
I don't like the way it works. I don't feel comfortable with it, but there's nothing to hold that piling from shifting. So.
Okay, you brought a PO to us this morning. It's maintenance repairs from Foley Equipment in the amount of $3,884.76, which is a repair for the laydown machine. Do you want to look at it, or do you want to?
no, I asked questions about it. I thought it was going to be under warranty. He said they don't warranty bearings.
It's a wear part. I asked the same question, and they said it's one of those things. It's not
Greasable bearings, it's not being greased,
Well, they said there's got to be some reason, but when we check the lines, everything, they grease them every 10 hours, I believe is what it is of use. So we're not sure what happened with it.
And this is what auger that one of those that auger that.
What the material drive chain. So.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I said that'd be fixed.
Yeah. Well, it is fixed, so we can pay for it. Yeah. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Pass 2-0.
You want this number, if he gets this number.
Can I write stuff down for
Yeah.
you first?
You know,
As I write real quick.
Okay, who's looking through the bills? We got a question on this, Approved Paving LLC. Worked on Morton Road and several different
Correct.
sections.
That's the deal. We went over, I don't know how long ago, whenever that PO was signed. They came in and they're grinding certain areas out. Like on Morton Road, there's a certain area where there's a tube. It was extremely rough. We had them come in and get that smoothed back out, or the base area of it cleaned up for us, so we could just keep moving right across. We didn't think we were going to get to Morton as soon as we did, but it actually worked out where they got there just before we did. And they'll be continuing to do the other sites as, he said when they come back on a Friday, they're, going to do those certain jobs. There's no rush on any of them. But it's basically they're milling down high spots and filling in low spots. So
I took it as they was doing blacktop, but that makes sense.
Say, there's two different ones. So is this for just $5,750 or is this?
correct. They're going to bill us for each site they get to, because like they've done Morton, but they haven't done anything else yet. And so as they do each site, they'll bill us individually.
Okay, this was the approval for all of them?
Correct.
All right, now that makes sense. So this one PO is for $5,750?
Correct.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept?
We didn't approve that.
It's already been approved.
It's
already been approved. I just added the PO with it. So
sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just didn't understand why it was listed here and here. So now it's in this. Do you have anything else for us?
I do not. It's a rainy
I
day.
also,
Killing a little time.
I've been hearing that Mr. Martin was going to open his rock quarry up at Cell Rock, and he wasn't. And I asked him, he said they are opening it up for rock. So
He's been open for
For a while. We just blasted it out much last week. I was gonna do, I don't know if you heard, we got all the permitting now for our C&D landfill. We're running it, so. Good on it. ADHD.
Also see that the fertilizer plant in Nortonville, they finally must have got everything approved because they're ready in their site right in Atchison County down there. Finally, that's been a year and a half ago that we were dealing with
they
it.
were supposed to have it ready for last year. And
They're getting ready to move the tanks, but they got the tubes in and all of that. Just
I don't know anything about it.
it's not a real good location. It's kind of swampy where they're going.
they put in a tube across. Well, it's basically the site is a ditch, and I bet that is probably it's like about a 10-foot concrete culvert that's probably 30 or 40 feet long. Well, it'll be longer than that, probably 60 or 70 feet long through there. Basically, it's like 2 lanes of traffic over it, and then the tanks are going to sit on the back side.
Where's this at?
Just on the north side of Nortonville.
Northwest side of Northville.
Okay. Just haven't even paid any attention.
Yeah, you may not have. It's in Atchison County. It's not Atchison County Road.
They want to move the tanks they have up and down Winchester up there and make it more. That's kind of the scale is bad down there. So get a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Storage.
So where are we at on Morton?
I'd say within a week, if we can get some better weather. I mean, I'm glad we got the rain, but if we don't get any rain, it should be a week, maybe a little bit over a week to finish it. So
I take it you lost your summer help, or
we've lost half of them. So I got another one leaving tomorrow, and then I should have 3 that are kind of sticking around a little while. They may not be going back to school, so they might hang around for a little while until I can't utilize them, or if we have our positions open for full time.
Didn't you ask for a full time in your budget?
2 of them.
Two. So are you going to try to keep any of those?
Yes,
2 of the 3 remaining, probably.
possibly. Yeah. Is there anything done on the utility agreement? Is that ready or?
I don't know if that,
Okay.
we did the work on it. but not in time to finalize it, although I probably can here in just a few minutes, because I think it's all done.
Sir, are you here for the bid opening?
I'm here for the ballots.
Ballot? Okay. Just want to make sure that I wasn't skipping over somebody here.
No worries. Appreciate it.
You bet.
I mean, bids do we get?
I think we have 3 as of now. They still have till 1:30 to bring anything in. So. Do you have them or does Michelle have them? Still?
Michelle has them.
I think she'll bring them in at 1:30.
Linda?
Mhm.
I thought it would be a good thing to have a paper ready for, have a sign up for the ballots.
Okay.
When we may have a lot of people here, it might be a good thing to have a record of who's here, so we can pass a sign up sheet or just a sign up sheet of any kind. That would work. That's fine.
We actually have a form, full agent. I'm representing a campaign.
Oh, I didn't know. I was just wanting for our records, who was all.
Right, no, I'm saying you can keep that. That
Okay.
makes it easier for you.
Okay.
Well, this is a copy sheet and hand this around.
Just that way, I thought you would have something ready.
Sure. You want me to? I'll pass this when I got an extra one.
Do you need an extra pen?
Oh, wait.
I got a new one. Okay.
Just curious. I've never been through this process either, so I'm actually going to read your sheet.
Never been through it either. That's just what they gave us. So.
And who?
I'm representing Governor Collier.
Okay.
Well, with the vote so close, will we know 30 days from now? Because there'll probably be a recall. From whoever.
Well, yeah, I would say it's probably going to finish pretty close. I'd imagine they will go to a recount, and I mean, I think the goal is still to finish at the end of the month. That's what they're saying. See if that happens.
I mean, this is just on a minuscule scale. It's reminiscent of the Florida recount. You
Right.
know. Of course, I hope we're not doing the hanging Chad thing.
No. Hopefully, technology has gotten us past that, poking a hole through a ballot thing.
And I haven't heard that got so hairy down there, and I don't feel that there's. I think whoever eventually wins this, it's going to be accepted. But
Yeah.
I
We have a slight discrepancy on which ballots we believe should be counted and shouldn't be counted, but it's not a major one, I would say.
well, it bears scrutiny. I mean,
Sure.
I knew it'd be close, but I didn't realize it'd be that close.
Yeah, no, none of us were ready for that. We got no sleep election night, just keep hitting refresh, hoping Johnson County was going to hop in there. So.
then I've been told whoever wins is gonna have a tough race with the.
Yeah.
You've got deep pockets.
They've gotten a head start, so.
We're getting closer. We got 10 more minutes.
This is the resolution for the general obligation bonds. I printed one for each of you. It looks to be in order to me, and it's ready for your consideration and adoption.
That's a whole lot of reading there, man.
Yes, it is.
They don't have a Cliff Notes version?
All the chairman don't want to put aside to go for.
I'm gonna look through it before I sign. Is this what you said you read it online?
I tried to, this is more than what was online. Is this something that, for all three of us, should we hold this off a week or? Well, it's gonna be 2 weeks, because he's gonna be gone this week.
Two of you may
Sign it, okay. Just majority, okay.
Being that I know that there has been no problems with that, I would feel comfortable because Jack has been a proponent of this. You know, if I wouldn't try to sign it without any further debate if he was against it.
And it's in there that we cannot pay this off before the 5 years, but after that, for the second 5 years, we can pay it off no penalties, correct?
Yes.
Do we need a resolution then before we head back? You comfortable with it, Mr. Chairman?
I got to read much of it, yeah.
That's in section 301, optional redemption. I said 5 years. It's October 1st, which is 5 years and a couple months. On an anniversary date after that, you may pay it on.
Page 12.
This is the first payment. Is this the bridge bonding?
Yes.
Do we have like a payment when it's, will be October, I guess, of 19?
April 1 of 2019 is an interest-only payment of $39,503.89, and then October 1st there's a principal payment and an interest payment. Principal of $165,000 and interest of $33,700.
I believe Jamie put something in his budget for that issue.
It's coming out of my special highway. Are they gonna basically send up a invoice for us to pay off of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how we do the other periodic indebtedness either.
I'm not, that's all through Michelle.
Does this need to be signed? Is this time sensitive? Does this need to be done today? Preferable or?
I don't know.
We got 2 bridges gonna be done within a week.
Well, we're making the payments on them and then being reimbursed back, so.
That's right.
It
You're
doesn't really affect much.
If it was time sensitive, I would. Well, I'm relying on your reading of this and not mine because I haven't had a chance to see it. That's the only thing. If it was time sensitive, I would. If it's not time sensitive, I'd like to probably read it more thoroughly and do it next week.
it may delay the closing, which is set for on the 30th. I don't know. I can call bond council and find it out.
Is that a, well, I'll go ahead and keep reading and if it's gonna, I know you reviewed it, but
There's no way you're gonna read it.
no, I'm not gonna get
I
into
always
it.
have to read it 2 or 3 times.
This is heavy reading too, so.
Yep.
Which piece of paper?
Piece of paper that gentleman gave us.
Oh, she's got. We were talking about these bonds that we were going to approve today, and Seth had a question of when the first payment will be due in April. Just more or less, will they send a invoice to us, do you think, or that just might be some Capital One?
We'll probably get something as far as the exhibit with the appropriations and I'll put it on the calendar as a reminder, but we should get a statement, a billing statement.
Okay, I didn't figure that we would probably know for sure. I was just more or less putting this out there so we would get it on the calendar that we know that it's coming up.
They should give us an exhibit, normally it's B, I believe, that has the payments, the interest, and the amounts and the due dates. So that will just be a repeat on my calendar. So.
Sometimes until you get that first one, you really don't know. Then that kind of sets the tone for the rest of it. But
It's 1:35, Mr. Chairman.
okay. I'm open the bids for scheduled for the backfill.
Alright, we got 3 of them. One would be from Martin Construction, one from Wagner Excavating, and one from RM Bridge Company.
What was the name of the last one?
RM Bridge Company. Alright. Martin Construction. 12,200. Got Wagner. 34,414.15 cents. RM Bridge Company, $17,315. Looks like
I think on the last bid opening, we had some questions about if they fulfilled their obligation for all of that. So we're going to make sure that everybody has got bonding or anything that was required.
correct. Everybody looks like they have. Martin's got a check for the 10% or 5%. He does have that. Wagner does have his bid bond, and they have also has their check included this time. So,
Okay, so all comply.
all are complying.
Do you have anything to say?
Everything looks good.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the bid from Martin Construction, the amount of $12,200.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded, and all in favor say aye. Aye. Pass 2-0.
Thank you, Austin.
Q&Z.
I'll just start going to take care of them. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you very much.
Did you make 2 copies of this if they have any questions? The gentleman.
Well, we didn't know.
Oh, you made so. That gentleman, this gentleman. And then we want to sign up sheet. Or just state your name and who you're with.
Right now,
Yeah.
Gus
Just-
Harmon. I'm here on behalf of the Cobalt campaign, volunteering just to watch the canvassing process.
Well, we have them sign their name. That might be
Okay.
easier.
Yeah, it's easier.
Do you have a sign up sheet?
Yeah, because I did.
Oh, okay, I didn't see you
Yeah.
send it.
Yep.
It's at 1:45. Did you put in a call to the Bonds company, or was that?
No, I haven't.
I
Didn't
didn't.
think I should get up and go.
Okay, I didn't know whether you did or not. Of course, with the electronics, I didn't know whether you meant call or whether you was going to email or not. No, I'll be fine. We can do that after. I mean, we've got the canvas here so quickly. So we got 5 minutes, so I didn't know whether.
Oh, I can't. Have somebody got? Oh, Shelley.
Yes, she's aware. Shelley is aware. She'll be back later.
Okay, we may have more come in. So
Okay.
let's just leave it at that. Yeah, we'll have to have the template for when to make a motion to nominate someone.
Oh, yes, I have that right here. And it's basically, since there's only one missing, it's going to be your guys' choice. I don't have to be part of that since there's only one of you absent.
Oh,
Since
if it
we're
was
going-
one of us, it
correct,
would
and I
be you
highlighted
and, yeah,
Correct.
as the
And I
election officer.
highlighted that, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
You got the motion.
Should we, well, I'm gonna wait till
That's it.
Pat's here before I make any, because we're not officially to the canvassing. Do they call this a canvassing hearing? I mean, do I open it like a hearing, or do we just make a declaration of that we have now opened the canvass?
I believe it's just a canvas of the election.
Okay, I'll make an announcement just so we have a definite cutoff. We got the attorney back there. He could tell us probably. How you doing, Jerry?
Good, good.
Kick your air on.
I don't think you notice it here as much, but you walk out and you walk in the back of the room.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I wonder when our new one's coming in. Our new air conditioning.
October meeting. You won't need it.
Yeah, November. Oh, I don't know. I quite frankly thought that maybe we'd have a full house for this. Maybe there might be a few more come in, but it's really what you hear on the news. I mean,
There were quite a few people in Troy yesterday.
you say in Troy?
Yeah.
I guess I kind of find it. What's your day job that you're doing this now? I mean, just like how do you become a poll watcher? Or, I mean, just for my own curiosity. I don't mean to pry or anything. It's just.
Oh, so I actually work for the governor, so we've been kind of doing half-day work and the other half on the poll watching.
Okay. I mean, it was just interesting how the process works. So.
I work for the co-op campaign.
Okay.
You work for the office or for the campaign? Or the office? Okay.
Using a little bit of vacation time here.
Yeah.
Part of the process.
Yeah. Regardless of who comes out on top, I hope it's a smooth transition if there's not something, court cases and all of that stuff.
Hopefully by the end of the month, I'm guessing we'll have an answer. At least officially be done. Move on.
It can wait till next week and still meet our budget deadline.
Okay, why don't we put it off? Do we need to make a motion to put it off for a week or just?
No, I think just put it on the, put it on the agenda next week.
I feel much better to have a chance to read thoroughly through it. Should we have her seated until, or wait till after we actually nominate her?
Yes, probably.
Just sit down out there, please.
Go like this.
Hold the camera. You're on camera doing that. I'm going to put that one up. Wait for Michelle to come in, and then we can probably get started.
This generous for Mr. Collier, this generous for Mr. Copeland.
Here on their behalf. He's here for himself. Okay, it is 1:45, and I'll go ahead and open the canvass for the fall 2018 election. So our first duty, I guess, will be to fill, since we have a commissioner gone, we want to fill the position, and I will have a 2017 Kansas statute that of 25-3102, filling vacancies on County Board of Canvassers, Deputy County Election Officer's duty or authority. In the event that a member of the County Board of Canvassers shall die, be absent, or from any casualty be prevented from serving on such board, the remaining members of the County Board of Canvassers shall select an elector to serve on the County Board of Canvassers in such member's place. If more than one member of the County Board of Canvassers shall die, be absent, or for any casualty be prevented from serving on the County Board of Canvassers, the remaining members or member of the board, in consultation with the county election officer, shall select electors to serve in their place. Functions and duties of the county election officer may be performed by the deputy of the county election officer in the absence of the county election officer. So with that, do I hear a motion to select someone?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we choose Shelley Campbell to be our clerk canvassor.
I will second that. All in favor say aye. Aye. 2-0. Shelley, come on up.
Probably just to add for the record that Michelle Phillips has verified that she is an elector of the county, so she is qualified. I had thought that I would give you some direction about what the canvas is and kind of the general overview of the canvas process at the beginning. If there are any questions, please stop me. The canvassing process is really one of just counting the ballots, tabulating the votes by each election district, and then certifying those results to the state. There are 2 canvases or 3 canvases that are done. There's an original canvass that is done the night of the election, and that's done by the county election officer and her assistants, and that has been done. And then for local elections, this is the final canvass, and then for state and national elections, this is an intermediate canvass. So you will have the final say, and this will be the final determination of the number of votes cast on elections for county offices or county commission races and precinct races, etc. Township elections. For national and state elections, there is a final canvass that's done by a state board of canvassers. Generally, the Board of County Commissioners is the county board of canvassers, and we've already appointed Shelley Campbell as to serve in place of Jack Bauer. The county election officer in Atchison County is Michelle Phillips, who is the county clerk. She has prepared tabulated results from the original canvass, and she has gone through and organized the provisional ballots, and we have talked about some of those and the legal issues that will be coming up. The tabulated results will be given to you. Then she will present to you the provisional ballots along with the issues that need to be resolved. You are acting as the fact finder and the final determination about whether or not the provisional ballots should be counted or not counted. You should be guided by the desire to have the intention of the voters made clear, and also to reinforce confidence in the system that we have for elections. There's generally a presumption that a vote should be cast or should be counted unless there is a reason not to count it. I will say from looking over things, it does appear that the county election officer and her election judges at the polling places have done an excellent job. None of the provisional ballots are each contained in a folder, an envelope. Those envelopes will not be opened until after. They'll only be opened if the votes are to be counted, and that generally should not take place here in public. That is, the election officer will typically go back to the office to open those and to do the tabulation. And the reason for that is to protect the confidentiality of the votes. And so you will not have, if these, the names have generally been removed, there is a statute that prohibits the revelation of how someone voted, and we do take that seriously. So at least up until the end of the canvass, the identity of the people that have voted by provisional votes is not available. Now, those may be made available later if there's an election challenge that's filed in court, and in that event we would follow the orders of the district judge. You are to make the final decision as to whether each provisional ballot should be counted. If there is a statute that addresses the issue, you should follow the statute. If the ballot is considered valid, it should be counted. There may be some that need to be decided on a case-by-case basis. The canvassers are required to count partial provisional ballots. For example, if a voter casts a provisional ballot in a precinct other than the precinct in which the voter is registered, but still within Atchison County, the canvassers should deem valid any votes for races or questions that are identical in both precincts. By the same token, any races or questions that do not appear on both precincts' ballots should not be counted. So, for example, for the offices of U.S. Representative and Governor, those should all be counted because they're common on every ballot that was made in Atchison County. Usually the situation arises because of a poll book error, an election board worker error, or voter error, or in an instance where the voter attempts to vote at a polling place closer to their house than to the place where they are registered. They do allow them to, well, we'll get into it on a case-by-case basis. Governor Collier had sent a letter to all of the county election officials and addressing a couple of issues. One involved mail ballots, making sure that, especially with regard to service members, that the votes should be counted if they were mailed on or before Election Day and received by the county clerk or the county election officer before August 10. That's been an issue in some counties. That has not been an issue in Atchison County, as every mail ballot that we received did bear a postmark and was received by August 10th. So we don't have any in that category that are being disqualified. The other issue that was addressed by Governor Collier involved unaffiliated voters. And an unaffiliated voter is a voter who has not declared a party intention prior to the primary election. And so an unaffiliated voter who goes to the polls may ask for a primary ballot for either party. At the time they do that, they need to fill out a voter registration card declaring a party, and then they are allowed to vote in the election. And we have done that with several voters in Atchison County. I don't know how many because those are not to be provisional ballots, and we So every unaffiliated voter who appeared at a polling place and requested to vote in the primary was given a voter registration card. When they filled the voter registration card out, they turned it in to the poll workers who then gave the ballot. So we know that every one of the unaffiliated voters who requested primary ballot received, did fill out the paperwork properly and did vote a ballot. So we don't have any that fall into that category. The Governor Collier addressed in his letter to Michelle. I want to distinguish unaffiliated voters from voters that are already affiliated with a party. So if a person who's registered as a Republican showed up and asked to vote a Democrat primary ballot, they were told that they could not do that. The statute does not allow for a change in the party between June 1st and the close of the final canvass. So we do have several that fall into that category of either that were registered as Republicans and sought to vote in the Democratic primary, or were registered as Democrats and sought to vote in the Republican primary. Those are different than unaffiliated voters, and so that's a distinction that we'll try to point out to you as it comes up.
May I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Why are they given a ballot if they're not qualified to vote in the other party and switch parties at that time? Why are they given a ballot, even be it provisional? I mean, would they not just be refused, or if that vote isn't going to count?
We don't. Maybe I should defer. We don't refuse.
We do not refuse anyone the right to vote. If they so choose to vote on a party that they are not affiliated with, that would be their choice. But we're not going to take away anyone's right to vote.
Okay, they voted, but
they
will
know
not count.
They know it's not going to count, but some people choose.
I mean, but it is made clear that their vote.
Correct.
They're going to go through the process, but it's not going to be
challenge provisional,
okay.
And will be determined by the canvassing board whether or not that vote should count. But recommendations are that they will not count.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas Secretary of State has prepared a voting standards handbook, and part of that includes a little cheat sheet, if you will, on provisional votes, and you should each have. It says counting provisional ballots at the top, and there are, I think, 4 pages, and there are kind of an explanation of the situation and the Secretary of State's guidance on the suggestion of whether or not the ballot should count, a citation to a statute, and a comment. Those are provided for you. I can get the statutes, any specific statute that you want for you to read and look at if you have a question about it as the election officer goes through the provisional ballots. That's all I have. If you have any questions. Oh, and you would vote, actually, on whether or not to accept or reject any ballot. So, 2 votes are needed to accept a ballot.
Okay.
Just for reference, Michelle Phillips, County Election Officer. Just for your guys' point, I do have a couple letters that were sent via email to myself as County Election Officer that I wanted for reference in case you wanted to look at them. But once again, as Patrick was saying earlier, our office basically has taken every precautionary measure, and pretty much everything that's in the letters we are already doing. As far as retaining records, preservation of all the records, the mail ballots, and the provisional ballots. So, but I have these in case anybody wants them for reference. Should I put him in something?
Yeah, sure.
No. Yeah, we had one, but she was said the numbers may not have been right this morning. She was going out.
This is basically just a summary of the election that we had here in Atchison County as far as our primary election, August 7th. We had a grand total of 2,350 voters, a 20.8% turnout. We do have 19 precincts plus our advance, so we had a total 20 precincts. We had 10 polling locations. So we did have 51 board workers, poll workers that were there, plus 4 staff members. On our advance mail out, we distributed 154. 9 of those were the UACAVA, which are the overseas. We received 97, 7 of those being UACAVA as well. We had 244 that voted in-house, in person, for a grand total of 341 early and advance voting. So we have 27 provisionals, which we will kind of go through. And the descriptions, as far as the short description here on this form, is just basic. There may be 1 or 2 factors involving each of the provisions.
So do we just?
Just go ahead and start with the first one.
Okay.
We have a question in back?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask for a little clarification. Are these ones that you printed and ready, ones that we've disqualified?
We have not disqualified anything as of this point. The ones in red were recommended
To
not
disqualify.
to be counted.
Right.
Okay, for starters, I have a pretty good sized stack. There's 8 of them here that the affiliated voter requested and received a different party's ballot. So most of these were changing. They were previously on our records affiliated with a voting disco party, and they chose to vote the opposite party. So I have 8 of them here. Recommendations, Kansas Statute 25-3001C. The party affiliation list provides for, by subsection, shall be used to determine the party affiliation of a voter offering to vote in a partisan primary. So, but do you want me to pass these around to them, or just?
No, I think you can just summarize those facts.
Okay.
If they have questions.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions in regards to these 8? They are all basically party change from Dem to Republic. They were originally registered, and they wanted the other one's ballot.
So
Recommendation is to not count these ballots.
Do we need to vote on them now?
You want to vote individually, correct?
Okay, how do we do, how do we initiate the vote?
The recommendation is that those votes would not be counted.
Okay,
So just
I agree.
ask that.
I agree.
I agree as well. Okay.
3-0.
No count.
I'm going to hand the no counts to Counselor Henderson. Therefore, when I take the ballots that are to be counted, those will not be part of that. So there won't be any question as to what ballots I have. This one here is basically Kansas Statute 25-3304. This person here is also changing parties from Dem to Republic. However, there was not a signature of the judge on the envelope. Kansas Statute 25-3304B. Such declaration cannot be filed as far as a person changing party. I should probably just read it all. Any person who, having declared a party or voter affiliation, desires to change the same may file a written declaration with the county election officer stating the change of party or voter affiliation. Such declaration cannot be filed during the time from the candidate's filing deadline, which is June 1st, as prescribed in Kansas Statute 25-205, 25-305, and 25-4004, and amendments thereto, through the time when the primary election results are certified by the Secretary of State, which has not happened. It happens after our canvass. This recommendation is also a no count.
I agree now.
I agree.
No count.
We're kind of going through the no's first, as far as what I have. These are the ones on the other side. Okay, I have 4 here from voters who were also as well wanting to register, were registered with the party, were wanting to get a different ballot. However, they did not sign their provisional ballot, which has the voter's affirmation on there. I have 2 separate statutes that pertains to this. The Kansas Statute 25-3001C, which basically stating that the party affiliation list provided for the subsection shall be used to determine the party affiliation of the voter offering to vote at a partisan primary. And also Kansas Statute 25-409B and C, basically if a person is challenged pursuant to K.S.A. 25-414 and amendments thereto, such person shall be permitted to subscribe the application for registration and mark a ballot. The person shall then execute the affirmation prescribed in subsection C of the section before a member of the election board, and the ballot shall therefore thereupon be sealed in an envelope. So they did not sign.
So I was just confused about their signing. Is that an affirmation that they did want to switch parties? And
It's an affirmation, basically. I should not.
yeah.
This one, well, this one's not signed by the person, so there's nobody in here. The affidavit is signed by the person desiring to vote in a partisan primary election.
Okay.
This vote is challenged on the ground that the person is not a member of the party of which he or she claims to be a member.
Okay.
The person signs the affidavit before the voting provisional ballot.
Okay.
Okay. So, this one basically is a no on both parts because number one, they were registered at a previous party, wanted to vote the opposite party, and they did not sign their affirmation. So the term it's recommended on a no vote on these as well.
I agree with that.
I agree as well. No count. Is that all the no?
Yep.
Oh,
A couple more. Okay. How close am I? This one here is a Democrat declaring Republican on their ballot as well. The same statutes are to apply, and there is no signature on here. There is also no election board signatures, except for one, which is an error on the part of the election workers. But because of the fact that they're Democrat wanting to go Republican and the fact that they did not sign their envelope, it's recommended that this be a no count as well, due to the same statutes that we had previously.
I agree.
I agree.
I have 4 here who were never registered in Atchison County. And there is a Kansas Statute 25-215 as far as the qualifications of voters at primary elections, registration required. No person shall be entitled to vote at any national, state, or county or township primary election unless he or she is a resident of the voting area, a citizen of the United States, at least 18 years of age, and duly registered. So these people were not registered in Atchison County prior to registration deadline was the 17th of July. Recommendations that these do not count.
I agree.
I agree.
No count.
Is that all the no's?
Pardon?
Is that all the recommended?
I believe so.
Is there any questions at this point before we go any further? Okay.
I have 2 ballots here that are provisional, name changed due to either marriage, divorce, or such. There is a Kansas Statute 25-2316C as far as registered voters. When a registered voter changes name by marriage, divorce, or legal proceedings, if such voter is otherwise qualified to vote at such voting place, such voter shall be allowed to vote a provisional ballot at any election or apply for an advance voting ballot on the condition that such voter first completes the application for registration prescribed, which they do that all the time here anyway, by K.S.A. 25-2309 and amendments thereto. The completion of the application shall authorize the county election officer to update the registration records if appropriate for voting in future elections. The county election officer shall send a non-forwardable mail and notice of disposition to any voter completing such application. These basically are, yes, recommendation, because they are in the correct party and they are in the correct precinct as to where they're supposed to vote. So it's recommended that these do count.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah, yes, they can.
And just for clarification, those would count in all,
Correct.
all races.
Yes.
I have one here. The mail-out ballot that was mailed out was an error sent to the wrong person. We mailed the wrong ballot to this voter. It was not noticed until it came back into the office, so we did do it as a provisional. We have K.S.A. 25-3002, B, the third. Situation is A6. When a registered voter has cast a provisional ballot intended for a precinct other than the precinct in which the voter resides, but located within the same county, the canvasser shall count the votes for those offices or issues which are identical in all precincts or both precincts. So this one here, the recommendation is a yes for national and state offices only. It is not recommended that any township and or county, township, or precinct races are counted.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
this voter here is a change of address. The reason for challenge is a change of address. They voted in the wrong precinct. The issue number one on it is the voter voted provisional ballot. Only one board worker signed the provisional envelope, which I have the signatures of just the one. Per KSA 25-3002B1, it says no ballot or any portion thereof shall be invalidated by any technical error unless it's impossible to determine the voter's intention. The voter's intention was to vote. The voter's intention was to vote correctly. So it's a technical error, and it's recommended that it count. The issue number two, yes.
It's just the wrong precinct. They're registered correctly. Otherwise, okay, cool.
But issue number two is the voter was registered and moved within the county at any time and completed a new voter registration card. So they did move within the county. So basically, they voted in one precinct and they should have voted a different precinct. So for KSA 25-2316CB, basically, when a registered voter changes residence, such voters shall re-register in order to be eligible to vote, except that when a registrant has moved from an address on the registration book to another address within the county and has not re-registered. Such registrant shall be allowed to vote a provisional ballot at any election, or to apply for an advance voting ballot on the condition that such registrant first completes the application for registration, which they do, prescribed by KSA 25-2309, and amendments thereto. The recommendation is yes, this should count. However, since they voted in a precinct that was not the precinct that they should have voted in, it's recommended that it's a partial count to national and state offices only.
Agree.
The last stack.
Good.
Okay. These here, we have 5 left. These are the last 5 that we have. These basically are people who have moved. So we're looking at the same K.A. 25-36 or 2316C. Basically, when they change residence, these people have were previously registered in Atchison County. They moved and did not re-register. So these, once again, will be recommended that they count. However, on these, they will be individually case by case based, because if they move within the precinct that they were registered in, it will be a full count. If they move outside of the precinct that they were originally in, it would be a partial count as far as recommendation goes. So this will be on a case by case when these are looked at when we open them. So
I agree.
I agree.
okay. And that concludes everything I have as far as the provisional ballots. There were a total of 27. I should have 9 here that need to be looked at and counted. I do. I have 9. So at this point, I will excuse myself. I'll go back to my office unless anybody has questions.
Are we going to be reading like the ballots off in this meeting, or can I ask for just the Republican race results to be?
I can give you those. They will be in my office. We're going to have a panel in there. We'll open the ballots. We'll update the numbers, and we're going to bring the abstract back here with the total numbers for signatures.
Okay, thank you.
Will be okay? It may take me 10-15 minutes, but we'll be back.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anything else? Everybody okay?
Very good. Or do we need to sign, or as
She needs to go count them. They have a board and they will open them and count them. So
okay.
I think maybe you just want to
we want to
recess.
Do a recess for
canvassing.
Do you think 15 minutes? Okay, let's go ahead and recess for 15 minutes.
The Board of County Commissioners can still, you can still stay, and we do have a utility permit.
Okay. Okay. The election board, the
Thank
canvassing
you.
board
I'll
will
get the numbers
recess.
back as soon as I can.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Is that comfortable?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
David. No, I live in Johnson.
I'm not sure whether the utility permit is on the agenda or not.
I haven't seen it, but let's go ahead and deal with that.
Kansas statutes give to various utilities some right to use the right of way within the unincorporated areas of the state. But the statute also requires that the utility have the permission from the Board of County Commissioners to work in the right of way. And so the situation comes up from time to time of someone wanting to run a fiber optic cable, for example, which is an authorized use, or to put up a telephone line, that sort of thing. We have not had in the past a process for granting that permission. It's just been done on a case-by-case basis, and someone comes in and presents, here's what we want to do, and get permission to do it. We have suggested, we being Roger, Denton, Seth, Howard, and I have sat down and come up with a permit that we would like to get utilities to fill out, so we know what kind of work is being done. And there's a copy for each of you. To know what kind of work is being done, where it's going to be done, etc. This does not need to be adopted today. It's maybe a discussion item and should be on for your approval next week. The significant parts for us is so that we actually have as-built plans for what is installed, so that if we're making changes to an intersection, we have an idea of what's there and where it's located, so that we avoid cutting fiber optic cables or hitting water lines or other buried utilities. Also that we know when the work will be done so that we can announce road closures if those are necessary. It also makes clear that the utility company would have an obligation to restore the land to the condition it was before, that is seed grass if that's been dug up, and not only just throw some out there, that they actually have to get a stand of grass, and that their work would have to be done in accordance with the regulations. For example, a minimum depth of 36 inches below ground level, which I think is pretty uniformly done anyway, because they want to keep out of the frozen, the hard frost area. That they can't place utilities over drainage structures, that they have to comply with the Uniform Manual on Traffic Control Devices, that they have to they have to do the one call, gives them a deadline for how long after the work is done to have things cleaned up and removed, etc. And so if there are any other things that you see that should be in there, we can add them.
I have
What
one.
if-
Go ahead.
What if down the road we straighten the road and move the road? Wouldn't it be their obligation to pay to have the line
Yes.
moved? That's in there.
That's in paragraph 7. In the event that the county deems it necessary to make alterations or improvements to the road right of way after completion of the project, the applicant shall, at his own expense, remove or relocate utilities to accommodate and conform to such improvements as directed by the county. I should probably say its own expense, not his own expense.
I had something, and just skimming through it, I didn't see it here, and that is, I know like in the city of Effingham, they had a water line installed probably 15 to 20 years ago. I think they were supposed to have put down a locator wire with that PVC pipe, so an electronic device can be used to locate the line, and it didn't get put in. Couldn't something like that be language put in that we require locator line, or I don't know what the proper terminology is.
I share your concern about it, and in fact, the first time we were asked by, when I, as county councilor, when I was asked about rural water district wanting to do that, we discussed it in some detail, and what I understand is that none of the rural water departments use those. And there is some, I don't think it's terribly expensive, but there is some expense to them in doing it. But they also have all been very accommodating that if we hit their line, they'll fix it. And they're not, that's sort of the understanding, is that they repair that at their own peril, place it at their own peril.
What if we request the line located at their expense?
Well, I don't know that they have any real way to do that. It probably varies some from one water district to another. But generally, I think they try to stay on the outside half, between the edge of the road and the edge of the right of way. They try to stay on the outside of the ditch if there is one. But beyond that, if that's something we want to talk about or add, we probably want to give notice to the rural water districts and get some input from them. I have no idea how expensive it is to put that wire on.
I don't know. I just heard about it because last weekend there was a situation in Effingham. They hit, within one block, they hit the city water twice, and they had a boil water order on during the first half of the fair, and so it was quite fresh in my mind, hearing that. And so, like I say, I don't know what the procedure would be or how much expense that would be. Of course, the lines that they've already got there probably don't have them. It would only be for future lines. But I don't know if that's a priority or not. I think if there weren't any lines out there and they started from scratch, I think I would definitely want to start off that way.
Well, I think it makes sense to have them as well. But we've not had them in the past, and apparently we haven't had, not apparently, we haven't had any problems with it.
Okay.
At least since I've been county councilor.
Okay.
If you want to add it as a discussion item, we should probably notify the rural water districts because they'll be the ones impacted.
What do you think?
At least I know the water line that goes down in my neighborhood. They draw the map, and I could throw a dart at the wall and find the map better than what that map says where the lines are. They're not even close.
I mean, maybe if they came up and talked about it, maybe it wouldn't be a big deal, or if they would give us information on it. Because I know I've heard that you should have had this locator wire on. How good that works, or if they don't search for the wire, they're still going to hit it if they don't do a search before. So I'm just up in the air. It's just something that I thought of, or it's fresh in my mind. So
either that or take bulk on it. I want to do it because of the expense. They have to locate their lines at our request if we're doing the road work. That might be simpler.
yeah, than requesting that.
Yeah.
Because most of these lines are already in and don't have it. That's
Right.
where you're gonna.
I mean, do lines we're going to get.
Some, but most of those will be from a main to a new residence, or to a. It's going to be short runs.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I don't think we have anywhere where anyone's putting in a new subdivision and they're running a major water line. I just tried to look real quickly to see if I get an idea of what's involved with doing it, but I can't tell.
But I would go ahead and I do like Bill's suggestion that it would be, if requested, just to look for, do a locator service on that, it would be at the utilities expense.
Okay.
And they might already do it for nothing, but I think just having it in writing, that would.
Should not be done.
I don't know if there is a way to locate a PVC pipe, a PVC wire pipe that's already in the ground that doesn't have a wire. I don't know if there is a way to locate it. I don't know if you can do seismograph or X-ray or something. I have no idea.
Well, they use a copper wire.
Well, but
Like
one's already buried, one's out there.
No, I meant a copper wire, like a witch. We do the witching, like the branch. They use a copper wire to check for it.
Does that work?
For some people, my grandpa could do that, and my dad said he could walk over it 100 times, it wouldn't go down. And my grandpa was just coming around behind him, put his hands over Dad's. He said that tree branch would go down and pull the skin off of his hands. So there's something about I guess it doesn't matter who you are. And I have no charge in me because I can do it. It don't work for me either.
We'll work at getting that added before next week.
Okay. And we'll put that on the schedule for next week then.
Yes.
guess I should have known that. You gonna need any executive session today or anything?
None that I know of.
Any other old business, quick business? Until Michelle gets here? Mhm. You've signed both of these. Pat, do you need to see these yet? Yes. I would make sure you get them before I take them back down. Yes, put it off your side. There was a thing from the K.S.A. They got the Kansas comment, and they talked about the ADA coordinator. Is Joe Don our ADA coordinator? Do we have any? He wrote the book. No, that he made the book, catalog, or whatever. For ADA for the disabilities. Yeah, I don't know. Do we need to? I mean, because there was an article there in there, and you saw that. I think maybe we ought to look into see if we actually have somebody designated for that, and I don't know if he's just doing it for the courthouse or for the whole county. I mean, we have other outlying facilities, you know. Well, yeah, he had done that when we done the assessment, but I didn't know if he's actually the point person. He did do that assessment that he brought in a couple years ago. Not that I know of. I haven't heard anything from Mark. Have you lately since several people went down to that meeting in June? Has there been any contact with Mark or any meetings or anything you know of that?
No, Roger didn't probably talk to him.
Okay.
I wasn't on any of the committees.
Okay. anytime. Is it raining out there yet, Mary?
It's kind of weird. It looked like I could see something falling from the sky when I was walking, but I didn't feel anything or see any drops. And I don't know. I thought I heard a little shower or something earlier.
Looks like it's dry now.
What did you get last night this morning?
It appeared to be 2 inches.
I had 2.2. I dumped it at 6:30. When I left, I had another 2/10. Then it's rained ever since.
Yeah, it was about 7-ish or something. You know, we had a nice little shower very early after that shower.
We only had a 10th at home.
Really? Well, it sure has been drying out quick, I know.
It's a flame of my hand.
Yeah.
I was experimenting with my garden and I saw potted sweet corn plants, you know. So I bought them and I put them in my garden box. You know, after the rains, gosh, they started growing really good. They looked really good. And then last week, those strong winds came and all that hot weather just burned them all up.
Yeah.
That really impacted a few days.
Cards about like rated sweet corn. Either you got nothing or you got way too much you can't give to it.
That's what the joke was about. Somebody seen someone buying a zucchini in a grocery store. Somebody said, that person don't have a friend in the world. Because usually zucchinis are so prolific, you can't give them away. I always thought that was pretty cute. I'll go check it out.
I went out Tuesday night and I thought the number was down and the projects were way down, but then Eric said Friday and Saturday night, tremendous crowds. So I was sick. I felt that Friday night straight, but I couldn't.
Yeah. Did you go out there?
Friday night. Well, yeah, pretty good size crowd. The parade always draws a lot.
Yeah.
Seemed like the entries were pretty low in terms of competition in the building. The parade was 24 hours long. You were out there?
No, I have had a lot of work and I wasn't assigned to go out there, so I offered to go out Friday, as Martha said. Oh, I gotta go to the fair. And I said, well, I'll go take some pictures. Well, he said I'd have to write a story and have it in by 10 or something. I'd already put in my full day and I was tired and I thought, people want some pictures. They don't want to write a story that's not really there unless something happens. So I'd say I don't see you. So.
I understand they had a big crowd for the country and western singer Saturday night. I guess
Eric Dillon.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of kids would have gone to school with him. He's pretty well known. And,
that new pavilion they built looked like a place to be Friday night. They had somebody up there singing, and there was a pretty good crowd on the benches.
I would like to have seen that. Well, John's
that turned out pretty nice.
It looks nice.
John's like, well, why don't you go on out? He said, I don't want to go out there. That's for me. I'm like, well, I don't really care to be just wandering around out there by myself in a crowd, if I don't have a purpose.
You know how people.
Well, but I like to look at the projects and that kind of stuff, and all that stuff's done over good. By the time I would have made it out, the building probably would have been closed.
I think they're at the printing process, so it shouldn't be very long.
Did the majority of the counties do their canvassing yesterday?
Yeah, about 75.
So then probably today would be the second biggest on Tuesday, or?
It's a mix, because I know so the bigger counties are doing it today, and then Thursday is the next week.
Yeah, Thursdays there's a push. I don't know if any of it are doing it tomorrow, but maybe that's just because I'm not doing any tomorrow.
I don't have any tomorrow, Thursday, and then there's next Monday. It's the final day, so a couple of meetings the last day.
You say there's some next Monday?
Yep. Next Monday is the last day they're allowed to canvass.
But I thought the last day to, if they wanted to recount, was Friday, so they'd have to file for that before they know the last totals.
Yeah.
Correct.
So there's like a couple counties that are doing it Monday, so they'd probably know if they want to file it or not way before then. I think honestly after today, I think Johnson County results are coming at 4 p.m. They'd probably know after that either way. Because that's the biggest one that's left. I mean, Shawnee and Douglas still have to be counted, but Sedgwick's already done, so that's what should come out of the way. It's really down to Johnson so far. I mean, in terms of making the decision, recount or not.
Mm-hmm. Atchison County can make the difference. A lot of voters there.
Yeah, a lot of provisional ballots.
1450 or so.
What's that?
I said we had more.
So now that the counting, they eliminated a bunch of them. So I think Johnson County had about 1,400 and change, and Sedgwick had about 1,400 and change.
Yeah, Johnson started with like 1,900 or something before they eliminated it.
I'll tell you something I learned last time we had an election. You take this back to whoever wins, and I disagree. If someone comes in and votes early and they pass away before the day of election, that vote is not to be counted. I think that's wrong.
With you on that one. That's my own personal opinion. Yeah, with you.
And I wasn't aware of that. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, because we had a vote that didn't count last year because somebody had died.
Yeah, Johnson County just had that yesterday.
So,
That's the very same year my father-in-law's last word was Trump. And he voted early, and he would have. And I think we had 1 or 2 year next to one, I know it. That's not right.
So is there only one opportunity to file for a recount? So by Friday, so if there's a recount or partial recount, if it would change, is that it? I mean, or is there another opportunity for?
I mean, you have to file for a recount by Friday. My understanding is you could technically do different methods of a recount. You could choose it by county. You could do it statewide. So, I'm not sure what way they would be leaning on that one. But that could determine how long it takes.
But after that partial recount, if it changed something, then is there another recourse or another opportunity?
Well, I guess it would depend, right? So if you do a partial recount of only certain counties and that changes the result, then I would imagine then the other candidate could then ask for the partial recount of the other counties.
And I'm only asking just for the process, you know,
Right.
How.
There could be a challenge in court.
Yep.
And there could also be a challenge in federal court.
Shall we need to be here?
Yes, let me go get her. I'll run and get her real quick. She'll be running right out.
Yeah, I would assume that whichever party files, well, not political party, whichever person candidate files for the recount would be filing on all of the close counties, even ones that they narrowly won, just to boost that margin. I don't think either one's gonna just go for ones that either got blown out in or won handily either. So I feel like there shouldn't be too much back and forth. Hopefully, I just want to get on with this.
Yeah.
The general's coming up.
Well, that's what I was, as memory serves me correctly, I believe in Florida, when Al Gore, when they had the infamous hanging Chad thing there, then he had filed for just recount in 3 counties, and that's what they shut down. So, I mean, I didn't realize that was even an option anymore, because that was, Supreme Court said that he would have to go back for a full statewide.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think you
In Kansas, I think in state law you can.
It's probably in the devil's in the details, as they say.
Okay, we're back in session as the canvassing board.
What we did was we put provisionals numbers on our abstract with all of the other numbers, and you guys are interested in the Cobalt Collier, of course. We had 2 and 2 as far as our addition. So if you were interested, Collier in Atchison County. Pardon?
That would make us politically correct.
Yeah, Collier is ahead at 652, and Cobalt countywide is 623. So here's the finals that I have, though, as far as the abstract for the primary, including all provisionals, all advance, mail-in. So I basically asked that these be approved as far as canvass completed. And there's Democrat side and the Republican side. So the very last page of each section, there's a place for signatures for the Board of Canvassers, and then myself as well. So if I can pass these, so let me just do this.
Can we just do a blanket approval and just, well, I mean, after we look at them, or do we have to vote per race, or how do we?
I don't think you have to for this, do they?
I think you've already voted on the provisionals. She did the initial tabulation. I think I just approved that.
One's Democrat and
okay.
one's Republican.
Which ones have any questions? Once they sign this, I think I can make copies.
Can you send this to my email too? You need to sign. One here too. Thank you.
Is there anything else needed?
I think that's it.
That you can think of needed?
Any questions?
Good.
Well, thank you for bearing with us.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you very much for stepping in.
No problem.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, do we have any other business? We're gonna put off the bonds till next week and the location of the utilities. With that, there's a motion to adjourn at 2:54. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
Watch and